Welcome to the Home Business Podcast with Richard Captain Henderson, publisher of Home Business Magazine, and Sherilyn Colleen, managing editor. This how-to show helps you successfully operate your home-based business.
Greetings and welcome to the Home Business Podcast. I'm Richard Captain Henderson, your skipper at Home Business TV.
And I'm Shelby, your co-host.
Let's gear for sea and get underway. We've all heard the term, no pain, no gain.
Every small business owner struggles through difficult times and situations. It's part of the process of succeeding as an entrepreneur.
The truth about pain is that no one likes difficult times. We can choose to embrace the lessons we learn from pain.
Done successfully, conquering your painful situations can even help your business achieve greater success.
Who better to help us to triumph from pain than Bill Goodwin, owner and operator of Priority Living of Minnesota.
Bill Goodwin helps business owners and others achieve higher levels of performance and greater satisfaction in their personal lives.
So greetings, Bill Goodwin. Welcome to the Home Business Podcast. Say hello to our audience.
Oh, hello. It's so great to be with you guys today. Thank you for having me on this episode.
Thanks for being here. This is great because usually I'm saying, where are you dialing in from? And in this case, Bill's a buddy of mine and got a great story to tell and some background. So it's a perfect fit for the audience. So I know where you live. I know what city you live in.
That's right.
That's awesome. Well, Bill Goodwin, let's get to know you better. Tell us a little bit about your consulting business with Priority Living.
Yeah, well, Priority Living of Minnesota is really all about adding value, equipping and developing leaders. I'm a part of the John Maxwell leadership team. I'm one of his army of 41,000 coaches, speakers, and trainers, and I love to talk about leadership issues. And this one we're talking about today is definitely, when we go through painful times, is an opportunity for growth. And so, I work with for-profits, nonprofits, even churches, individuals as well as groups, and I help them grow and become better. So that's what I'm all about.
I mean, you typically hear the term leadership, and you think of somebody commanding a ship, and there's leadership and this that. But we forget as small business owners that we can make a lot of improvements by understanding and working to be better as leaders in our own small businesses.
That's right. It doesn't matter the size of the business, and small doesn't make it any less significant as something that may be considered larger or a corporation or whatever. We all have the opportunity to make a difference. And so I just really value our small business owners, our entrepreneurs, our people that work within the small businesses, because you're really the bread and butter. You're really the people who make America work. So I so value and appreciate you.
One thing I talk about leadership is in larger organizations, somebody has like defined leader, does a defined leader position, it's written into whatever they're doing, they're designated as a leader. But as a small business owner, you don't really have that relationship with a lot of people out there that you have to influence. So leadership, I think, is a lot about influence. And you may have to influence people as a leader, but you don't have actual direct control over them. So that's just kind of my spin on it, where I think it could even be a bigger challenge with being a leader in a small business.
Absolutely. And you just hit the nail on the head there, Richard. I think that leadership is influence, and it's nothing more, nothing less. It's not a title. It's not a position. We all are leaders to one degree or another, because we have influence and we can bring positive change and encouragement to others, or do the opposite. So we all are leaders in one respect or another.
Well, we understand that no pain, no gain starts with identifying stressors. Bill, please talk a little bit about stressors and how these can actually be catalysts for growth.
Yeah, absolutely. We all experience pain. We all go through difficulties. We all go through hard times. I mean, matter of fact, come on, let's just talk about the last 18 months or so. I like to say we're not all in the same boat, but we're all in the same storm. And we're all
wait. I got to stop. I always love good quotes. We're all in the same, but we're
not in the same boat, but we're all in the same storm.
I love it.
We're all going through things, right? And the thing is, we don't like going through things. I mean, I like to ask people, come on, raise your hand if you lost your job and you're excited about that. Nobody raises their hand. Nobody raises their hand and say, hey, you got a bad diagnosis from the doctor. Are you excited about that? No, nobody raises their hand. But the reality is we all go through difficult times. And so there are some stressors, pain files, if you will, but they can become catalysts. Things that we go through, the pain of change, the pain of bad health, the pain of relationships, the pain of our business not doing as well as we hoped it, the pain of financial stress. I mean, there's all kinds of stressors, but if we view them with the opportunity to grow through them and from them, then we change our perspective, and they actually become catalysts for growth rather than just get us kind of bogged down in the midst of whatever it is we're going through.
Is it safe to assume that stressors kind of get the process started to realizing you need to make some changes in how you approach things?
That's a great way to say it. I like to say, and I've said it a lot since COVID, is that crisis is always an accelerator. So you see things that have been happening maybe in your business that you've been wanting to do for a long time. But the crisis comes along, and it could be other types of crisis as well. But those crises come along and they're an accelerator. We get things done faster as a result of the crisis that we would not have gotten done, maybe for a longer period of time or even at all, had the crisis not come and have us say, okay, I need to rethink how I'm doing what I'm doing.
That crisis generated stressors then.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could do a whole podcast on the stressors, but I encourage the audience to go to Priority Living MN, and we'll hit the website again in the podcast, but there's more information that you can gather on that from that website.
Yeah, absolutely. In general, I think like this past 2 years, it made people realize kind of like a lot of people made a lot of career shifts as well, I feel. Either that's from like stressors going on or just like anything else. So kind of going off of that, let's turn a little pain into some gain. Bill, how does one have a positive life stance then with everything going on?
Boy, that is really a great question. Whoa,
right?
That's a really great question.
And you got 30 seconds.
Yeah, right. I would say, first of all, that we are now living in the Great Resignation. That's what this time is called. I read a stat that 11 million Americans have either resigned or retired early in the last 90 days. And a lot of this pain, a lot of this stress has caused us to reevaluate things. That's why I call my company Priority Living of Minnesota, because we want to make priorities our priority. But to answer your question about a positive life stance, it's really all about our mental thought process on an ongoing basis, not just when we go through hard times, but if we choose to live a positive life stance, which basically means, let me give you a definition. Actually, I wrote down a definition here. I want to make sure I share this right. Positive life stance, check this out, is a set of attitudes, assumptions, and expectations that people have about themselves, others, and their world. So if we have this positive life stance throughout life, whether we're going through a difficult time or not, when we come into those trials, those times of pain, those stressors, which we all do, we all will. I like to say either you're just coming out of a pain or a stressor or trial, or you're in the midst of one right now, possibly, or I hate to say it, you're going to go through something in the future. So if we have this positive life stance, it means that we recognize that life is filled with both good and bad, and some of the good and some of the bad I can't control, and some of the good and some of the bad will actually find me, and it will find you too. But if we have this positive life stance, we can get through those stressors, those difficult times, because we recognize that it's in the midst of good management of difficult times leads to great growth. That can be in your business and in your personal life as well, that when we have good management, the positive life stance of difficult situations, we can grow exponentially.
Well, Bill, as a business owner, we have to accept our current pain. Bill, how do we embrace the value of that pain?
I think what's helpful is if we take it one moment at a time and kind of seek greater counsel, wisdom if we need to. Maybe that's from our coworkers, maybe that's from another business owner or someone else that we can glean wisdom from, because wisdom comes in the counsel of others. And then also we embrace that pain from the standpoint of recognizing that this pain isn't going to last forever, that there will be an end to it. So we don't have to get bogged down in it. We can instead embrace it and say, I'm going to grow from this and have that positive life stance that in the midst of the difficult times, I'm going to get through it and I'm going to grow and learn from it.
I think a key point I like there, we had the military term, embrace the suck, but I think it's understanding that it's only keeping in mind present moment, that it's only transitory, that if you conquer it, there's something after the pain that'll lead in a good direction for you.
You know, I'm a person of faith, and one of the things that I think we can embrace in my faith is that in Scripture, in James 1 verse 2, it says that we all will experience many trials of many kinds. So it's all different kinds of trials, but that faith plus trials equals perseverance and maturity. So in other words, just in our lives, when our business goes through a difficult time, at the end of the day, we have to believe that our business is going to become stronger on the other side. We're going to learn some things through that. We're going to become better, not bitter, because of the difficulties that we go through.
Absolutely. There's always light at the end of every storm. That's what I always say. It's very easy to get bogged down in the hard times, but it's even harder to get out of it and change the mindset. So yeah, absolutely. And so going off of that, it's important to learn from pain and bad experiences. Bill, how can we then make good changes? How do we get out of that negative mindset?
Yeah, I think a couple of things we want to embrace and develop creativity in the midst of difficult times. So in your business, you go through a difficult time, get creative. That's a great time to be creative because you've never been there before. So come up with a new way to address that problem. I think of the farmer who his land was sloped in such a way, and every time it had a hard rain, the water would run down into his chicken coop and kill his chickens. And it happened over and over again. You have to go buy new chickens, and it happened over and over. Finally, that farmer got creative, and he decided, well, I can't change my land, so I'll change what I raise. So he went, instead of buying more chickens, he went and bought ducks. So in the future, he didn't have to deal with the rain killing off his crop. So I think that we need to get creative in the midst of difficult times. And in your business, think outside the box. That's a great time to think outside the box and say, you know what? Why do I do it this way? Maybe I should do it differently. And actually, you may find a better way to do it than you were doing it. That's one way you can embrace it. I also would say that we embrace the value of bad experiences, just kind of like what we're talking about. There's going to be something good that's going to come out of it because it will end someday. And we make changes from what we learn in the midst of difficult times, in the midst of crisis, pain, and suffering.
So when you're also thinking about things you could do better and making good use of those painful times, that maybe might kind of get your mind off the pain, get it focused in a positive direction.
Yes. And that's that positive life stance. Yep.
For sure. A question I thought of. So say you're working with someone that's a little old fashioned, they're stuck in their ways. How do you kind of influence them to think a different way? How do you approach that? Because
you talking about me, Shelby?
Yeah, no, of course not.
Don't you like the way we're doing the podcast?
Oh no, yeah, nothing to do with that, I promise. But just curious what your thought is on that, Bill.
Well, I think that's an encouragement for all of us.
Yes.
All of us to not get stuck in our ways. And maybe that crisis, maybe that pain point is the very thing to help us even ask others. Maybe if you're stuck in a way, it doesn't matter your age. You can be young or old or older or whatever. Just ask those around us. Is there a different way? What am I missing? How can we do this better? How can we do it different? And if we're open to change, matter of fact, change is a pain point for some people. People realize that the only thing that is consistent is change. And so we have to embrace that, and we have to find new ways to innovate, even in our businesses, and be creative in our own lives.
I wanted to pull out what you said there. I think it's really good, is asking questions. Everybody can ask questions about their business. And I guess that's a good way of gathering information by, figuring out where you're at by asking questions.
Yeah. I always say looking's free, right? So asking questions is really free. You don't have to do what how they advise you or their ideas, but you get a broader sense. You get some new perspectives when you ask other people. I like to ask the people in my organization, if you were in my position, what would you do? when you're not the top dog, so to speak, everybody has ideas of what you should do. So why don't you just ask them? And you don't have to take their advice. You have other perspectives that they don't have, more information than they may not have.
And somebody like running their own business, that kind of thing, maybe a smaller operation, they can still talk to vendors and people they interact with.
Yes.
Or even their local Rotary Club.
That's a good place, right?
Yes.
Well, Bill, conquering pain also requires taking personal responsibility. I think personal responsibility has been woven in here throughout the discussion. How does one be a victor and not a victim?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Is when we go through hard times, as I said, we all do, it can become easy to have the why me and become, a victim. Like nobody knows how bad I'm dealing with or what I'm dealing with. But when we have the perspective that, other people, matter of fact, everybody are going through difficult times, we begin to realize that everybody has a story. So therefore, let's not become victims. Let's become victorious and say, how do I move from here to there by moving through this storm and getting better because of it, not bitter.
And kind of looking at that victor and victim, I think when times are chaotic like now, there's a lot of difficulties. I guess that may offer some more, even greater opportunity to making some good changes.
Yeah, I think so. I like this phrase. A bend in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make the turn. So we can have hope. I guess that's what I want to say is if you're going through a difficult time, even right now, as you're listening and you're saying, yeah, but these people don't have any idea what my business is facing or what I'm facing personally. I just want to be an encouragement to you and give you hope today that the bend in the road is not the end of the road unless we fail to make the turn. So just keep moving forward, keep being encouraged, keep making the next step, make today count. You're going to get through this time. And I believe that you can end up being better. Your business could be better as a result of this. When you look back someday, you're going to say, wow, that was a difficult time. I would have never wished for that, but I wouldn't be where I am today had I not gone through that.
Yeah, absolutely. I might ramble a little, but I was just thinking like, in this, especially in these times, there's just so much uncertainty, so many things up in the air. It's almost like if you're seeking out something you can't find, it's like, oh, maybe I'll create a business out of this. So I think that's a great opportunity to come up with like a new business idea if you can't find that thing you're seeking out. That's what I've seen a lot. Have you seen that a lot, would you say?
Well, yeah, I mean, just like the COVID shakeup with so many businesses going out and new opportunities.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. So Bill Goodwin, no pain, no gain. Do you have any final points you'd like to share on how to better turn pain into gain?
Well, I just kind of to recap a little bit. First of all, we realize that everybody goes through difficult times. And I don't know, that just right there gives me some hope. Like, okay, I'm not the only one. I didn't do something wrong to have to go through bad stuff or whatever. We all go through difficult things. And that gives us some hope and some encouragement. And then have that positive life stance that when we go through things in life and we try to go through it in a positive way, be creative, think outside the box, grow from the difficulties, then we end up personally and our businesses end up becoming better. And I just want to encourage again, those that are listening that I believe that there are some listening right now that are in a very difficult time. Like you said, there's a lot of uncertainty. But I just want to encourage you to keep doing the best that you can.
Well, I like the way you encapsulated that into a systematic approach. I think it's not one thing, but you got to see how these all relate to one another and make some positive changes from there. Well, Bill Goodwin, thanks for joining us today on the Home Business Podcast.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. To learn more about Bill Goodwin and how he can help you achieve greater personal growth, please visit PriorityLivingMN.com or our podcast website for more information on guests.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Home Business Podcast. Share your feedback with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at our website, homebusinessmag.com.
Visit the website for information on advertising, subscribe to our newsletter, read our book, The Home-Based Business Startup Guide. For more info, visit homebusinessmag.com or homebusinessexpo.com.
I'm Richard Captain Henderson saying anchors away.
We'll talk with you soon. Until then,
make it a great home-based biz day.